So, I would like to make some conclusions and then delve a little deeper into the topic of success. To talk about how a person can develop successfully in their activities, what levers there are in terms of working on oneself, what internal opportunities are there in relationships, in the family. Once again, let me give you my algorithm that I suggest for life. Let me emphasize it once again. So, as the song says, remember all your mistakes. So be happy, my friends. May all your days be bright. May your feelings be strong. What does remember all your mistakes have to do with it? What does may your feelings be strong have to do with it? But people think that if they remember all their mistakes, everything will get worse. If a person's luck has turned away from them, if they are not happy in love, modern psychologists recommend distracting oneself from everything and simply saying, I'm good, I'm the most attractive and charming, that's it, that's the system. But if you remember all your mistakes, then as the song goes, be happy right away, my friends, all your days will be bright, may your feelings be strong. But how can they be strong if I remembered all my mistakes? How can my deeds be beautiful? Often people don't understand what self-esteem is, and that's a big problem. They think that self-esteem is based on self-suggestion. There is a soul, and self-esteem is attached to it. It belongs to the soul. Because self-esteem is the feeling of oneself as a person. I am the soul, and the soul receives from God understanding of who it is and how it behaves. That means that the Lord is behind the soul. And although the soul doesn't see him, it feels him. This is called conscience. And it is our relationship with conscience that determines which path we will take and where we will go. In general, there are three paths. The first path is when you completely close your eyes to conscience. In this case, you will lose yourself. This is called the path of degradation. To hell with everyone, I live as I want. Have you heard such statements? Don't teach me how to live. These are statements of degraded people, which means they have no contact with conscience. What does conscience do? What are its functions? What does God in the heart do? He shows a person danger. He gives a person knowledge about where luck is. If luck has turned away from you, then there is no contact with conscience. The Lord shows where luck is, where danger is. The Lord gives happiness to a person from the heart, also gives a feeling that one is going the wrong way through suffering. The Lord gives a person knowledge and forgetfulness from the heart. For example, if a person wants, let's say, to enjoy and forget about all, then the Lord gives them such an opportunity from the heart. Do you want this? Enjoy. He gives a person the opportunity to forget about their spouse, about children, as if they don't exist. This is how the Lord does it. If you want to go this way, no problem, try it. There's plenty of time. You live forever. Try everything, learn. Try to understand. The first path means losing yourself. Like in fairy tales, 3 roads. If you take the first road, you'll lose yourself. The second road is the path of passion. You'll lose your horse, meaning your spouse. So in the fairy tale, the hero rode on a horse and we ride with our spouse. That means you will lose a loved one. This road of passion, what does it mean? It means that you think you need to look cool, because the cooler you look, the luckier and more successful your life will be. If a person thinks that they need to prove their rightness to everyone, that in order to be successful you need to behave as if you are already successful, dress better, use cool words, show everyone your success, and you will be successful. This is the path of passion. It means a person feels that there is conscience. One hasn't completely closed their eyes to it, but one pretends that everything is fine with them. People think that if they accuse themselves of something, they will lose something in life. So they are afraid of these self-accusations because they believe that this is an unsuccessful life. Let's say, if I accuse myself of something, it means that I will be unsuccessful because I'm already guilty now. And if I'm guilty, it means I'm bad, which means unsuccessful. That's the kind of thinking. And therefore, people are offered to engage in self-suggestion, saying, I'm successful, I'm good. If someone accuses you, sit in front of a mirror and tell yourself 5 times, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. And that's it. Live on. There is psychology that describes all this, how it should be done. I saw a women's calendar that said, praising and respecting. This is your own priority. Don't allow yourself to entrust such an important task to anyone other than yourself. Great. That means the best way to restore yourself is to get enough sleep and eat well. These are the recommendations and so on. I'm not against getting enough sleep if you get up on time and eat well, but at the right time. I'm not against this, but this recommendation doesn't indicate boundaries. It gives a general idea. So, there is a path of passion. If you go this way, you will lose your horse, meaning your spouse or the one who is next to you. It seems to be the opposite. Look, I'm going this way. Why am I going at all? What am I living for? I live for my children, I live for my spouse, so that my loved ones have everything they need. I work hard for them. A person in passion thinks so. In fact, they do it only for themselves. Why? Because they need their close ones in order to live well, and they are sure that this is the right concept of life. As a result, a person doesn't feel good with their spouse and children anymore. This will definitely happen because a person in passion becomes exhausted, gradually losing strength. It's a closed system. People in passion are focused on themselves. That means they are blinkered. Blinkered means like horses have this thing that closes their eyes on the side so that they don't get distracted from the road, so that they only look forward, and that's it. This is how people put on blinkers, looking only forward. There's a wife, children, work. Everything else distracts from achieving the goal. What is my goal? My goal is prosperity, getting an apartment, and living well. And then we gallop along this road of ours in which we gradually lose touch with nature. We've forgotten how a birch tree reflects in a stream. We're losing friends because we don't see any meaning in them. Friends in passion are only needed to go somewhere with them on weekends, but it seems there's no time to go anywhere, and there's nothing special to talk about with them. Friendship in passion is a weekend friendship, meaning people in passion cannot talk about life, about something deep. They just need to have fun together. And if you have a bad period, no one will go on vacation with you because you're not having fun anymore. That means you don't bring them pleasure and communication stops. It turns out there was no friendship at all. When a person in passion goes through a bad period, one suddenly discovers that there is no one around. Their spouse doesn't need such an unhappy person, friends either, because they are barely alive themselves. They have no strength for you. They say, listen, we have neither strength nor time for you. You figure it out yourself. But a person cannot figure it out on their own because they are going through a bad period. It's hard for them to live. And people in passion don't plan for this in their lives at all. They think that everything should be successful and try to pretend that everything is fine. They don't understand that every person goes through a bad period in life. This means no health, no strength to live, being fired from work, relationships with a spouse deteriorate, and so on. A bad period means troubles in all aspects of life. A person's energy is simply cut off. Why does fate do this? In order for us to develop, for us to understand that not everything is so simple in this world. Therefore, we need to have some reserve of strength in order to overcome our fate, to be stronger. So this is how fate trains us, develops us. So people in passion gradually become blinkered, exhausted. They are fixated on each other, as their concept of happiness is this: I want to be happy together with everyone. But at the same time, they pretend to live for their family. Then suddenly it turns out that they're not living for their family, but have found someone else. This concept of life is called living in passion. It's a dream. A person dreams about meeting love, meeting someone, and always being happy with them. You live with this person, but there's no happiness. A person living in passion thinks that everyone else is happy, and only they aren't. This is an illusion. Everyone pretends that everything is fine, and a person in passion thinks that everyone else is living well, and only for them things somehow turn bad. Moreover, everyone thinks this way, and the dream works. If I just try a little harder, if just a bit more, it's about to happen right now. And a person dreams that happiness is just around the corner, but there's always a deficit. Sooner or later, a man finds a new beauty queen, or a woman finds another man, and what's the result? They kick out their close person with whom they've lived for 7, 8, 10, or 15 years. They lived together, followed the same path, but they parted as if they never lived together. And why does this happen? Because there was no depth in the relationship. People were living simply to satisfy their own needs. They didn't look into each other's hearts. Now diagnose yourself. Do you talk about profound things with your close person? Do you reveal what's in your heart? How do you live? What are your goals? If not, then don't think your family is protected from divorce. It's just a matter of your strength. I'm telling you, even if your family lives in passion and you've just started to develop, the family won't fall apart. No one will leave a beautiful, happy person. In this case, you save time, and then gradually you can change everything in your life. Just understand the principle and how it works. People who live in passion, what kind of relationship do they have with conscience? They feel their conscience, but they run away from it. In difficult life situations, they turn to conscience. When they feel really bad, they start to cry out, "Help me, Lord." This is when people live in passion. Religious people can also be in degradation. But when people are degraded, they wear a cross around their neck and say, "Look, we're Christians, we'll beat you all up." And they start proving to everyone that their faith is the best of all, expressing hatred. This is faith in degradation. Due to differences in religion, people blow up other people. This is also faith in degradation. When a person believes in God but hates people, this is faith in degradation. A person in passion also believes in God, but this faith is based on fear, faith in someone who can punish if something is not done for him. And so people in passion go to church, light candles. For them, the Lord is wrathful, ready to punish at any moment. He's already tired of this universe he created. And a person whose faith is in passion thinks each time what to do for God so that he doesn't get angry. And a person thinks, I seem to have done everything, lit a candle, went to the church, but things aren't getting better at work. I did everything for him. What else does he need? What does he want from me? Everything seems fine. That means they don't understand that this very Lord lives in their heart and guides them through life all the time, that he endures all our quirks. And it's a completely different matter, a different relationship altogether. If you're an observant person, you can understand a little bit who the Lord is, how much he loves us, how much he respects us. I know a little about the functions of the oversoul. I've studied the scriptures, and one of its functions is to wake a person up from sleep. I had such a case. My assistant was supposed to wake me up. I usually rest after lunch so that everything is properly digested. My assistant was supposed to wake me up on time so I wouldn't oversleep, and he forgot. But I heard, Dr. Torsunov, it's time to get up. I got up, went to him and said, thank you. And he said, I forgot. I sat down, I realized who had woken me up, and I started to recall the voice. As it happened recently, I could still remember. I started to recall the details of this sound. I heard the sound of respect. My assistant couldn't have said it like that. I was amazed. Wow, this is how the Lord behaves. He respects us so much. He loves us. And we're not even aware that this exists, that we have such communication. I'm saying that self-esteem is not such a simple thing. For example, if a person is in the mode of passion, they're constantly trying to prove something to themselves and others, but in reality they're losing their energy of happiness. Therefore, as the song says, if luck has turned away from you, if you're unhappy in love, think, could it have been otherwise? Recall all your mistakes. Today we were talking with one lady. She first told me all her husband's mistakes. But you should remember your own. Could it have been otherwise? Remember all your mistakes. And as the song goes, so be happy, my friends. What does be happy mean? When a person remembers all their mistakes, what happens next? They connect with their sense of self-worth, connect with their conscience. And conscience gives them a sense of happiness. A person begins to feel that the worst is already behind them. It's difficult for a person to remember all their mistakes, of course. But when they do this, an amazing thing happens in their heart. And I really like that in Christian churches people talk about their sins. You need to tell someone about this whole process, and confessions are a very powerful thing. It helps people so much. Because when a person talks about their sins to a spiritually senior person who is just a conduit, just helps people lighten their heart, this is called lightening the heart. But what really happens during this time? A person connects with their conscience, and conscience fills them with happiness. Happiness in the heart comes only from God. If a person has remembered all their mistakes, then be happy, my friends. If you've remembered all your mistakes, your self-esteem grows. From the position of passion, it seems as if you've become an unworthy person, as if you're now in darkness. Everyone will take advantage of you. But in reality, it's completely different. When a person has remembered all their mistakes, it doesn't mean they should now stop fulfilling their duty. Some people ask me, Dr. Torsunov, remember how many mistakes you've made in your life. Do you have the right to give lectures or not? I say, I've remembered all my mistakes, and I continue to give lectures. And why? So that others don't make the same mistakes. This is incorrect thinking. If you've made mistakes in your life, you shouldn't remain in misery for the rest of your life. If you consider yourself bad, should you really consider yourself bad? Should you just sit and suffer? This is nonsense. Remember your mistakes once. Do something good 10 times. This is called the process of making amends. Once you've remembered that you made mistakes, admit it to yourself, then make sure to do something good 10 times. This is the right way of life. This doesn't mean that you can make such mistakes again. It means you need to tell yourself, that's it, enough, I don't want to do this anymore. And act correctly and live correctly. This is what a relationship with God is. What is self-esteem? This word self-esteem is actually incorrect because dignity is not something personal. We cannot evaluate ourselves. Let's say you're shouting and no one is around. You shout, I can't live like this anymore. I shouted like that when I was a child. I was in that situation. Later I ask myself, who am I shouting to? There's no one around. If it's to myself, then why so loudly? I wanted someone to hear me. We have a function. We talk to God. We scream, I can't live like this anymore. To whom? There's no one around. We are shouting to Him. This is a relationship with conscience. When a person says to themselves, I am guilty just once, that's it. From then on, they need to do good deeds. Send messages, tell your husband, I am guilty, that's it. I want to change, give me a chance. Pray, do good deeds. If you see that someone else is guilty in front of you, then forgive them. It's no big deal. Everyone makes mistakes. And so on. Continue on this path. And when a person walks this path, what is success? Now look, like in the song, so be happy, my friends. May all your days be bright. All your days means luck. Look, if a person lives by conscience, they constantly monitor their actions, paying close attention to their deeds. If they do something wrong, they repent, and then they try again to do good. It's not about saying, I'm bad, that's it, I'll throw myself in the trash. No. I am a soul. I can make mistakes, but I want to do good deeds. I have the right mindset. I keep moving forward. There's a piece of wisdom. The Tao says that a wise person is not one who never falls, but one who gets back up. You feel that, right? This is the correct work of self-esteem. Every person will make mistakes in this world. Mistakes are a natural part of life. Every person feels their own truth. A woman her truth, a man his. We want to prove our own. Sometimes a person doesn't understand what's right. That's all natural. But you can't get stuck on that. You have to move forward, do good deeds. And what does the correct work of self-esteem consist of? You repent. God gives you the feeling. Well done, good path. Let's go, comrade. He gives you the feeling that you are a good person. And this feeling of being valued by God is what self-esteem is, but not personal. But we call it self-esteem. We feel it as our own dignity. But this dignity, this evaluation, belongs to God. And it's amazing to know that when you live by His evaluation, even if people humiliate you, you won't feel humiliated. Because when you are humiliated and someone says you are a pig, who do you think you are? Well, let's say. You immediately compare it with your conscience. Your conscience says, don't listen to him. And you can say to him, well, from your point of view, that may be true, but I'm not against your point of view. I just can't submit to it because you are not God. And God sees it differently. God is in your heart. If God also confirms that you are a pig, then why? God is good. He will explain why. And if He explains why, you can immediately change and stop being a pig. Tell yourself, that's it, I'll change. I'm starting to change. Then you are no longer a pig. Some people think that repentance means beating your head against the wall, humiliating yourself, degrading yourself again and again. Is that the right life? No. The right life is to repent, to say, yes, I am guilty, to understand what was wrong, and to follow the right path. A person should not feel humiliated in life. God wants a person to feel dignified. Being dignified means carefully watching His evaluation, and it's amazing to know that when you see His evaluation, that same evaluation will be pleasing to the eyes of others. This is called being yourself. What does it mean to be yourself? Watch your conscience. You acted a certain way, you agreed with God. I am guilty, just like the girl said, I am guilty, Dr. Torsunov. I agree with everything. That's it, that's enough. At that moment, the person stops being bad. Now they are good. God liked what they did. And what happens next? Next, they can behave completely differently in their relationship with their loved one. They need to say boldly, I understand everything now. Now it's their problem to accept this. It's their issue, not yours. I understand everything and will change. That's it. But there's also the concept of enduring, of suffering for what you've done. To change also means not just confession, but also repentance. What is repentance? It's when you endure the pain of your bad actions. A person may feel paralyzed by their relationship with you. They have formed their opinion about you, and you need to change that opinion. Endure the pain of your past actions and overcome fate. The opinion will definitely change because an opinion is pain, and pain decreases and ends. I have an acquaintance. He stole a lot, deceived his elders. Well, he was exposed. In short, kicked out. But he didn't get discouraged. He repented. No one believed him. He continued to go into relationships, and in the end, they believed him. Time passed. They believed him. That is, it's possible. There is a way back. There's no such thing as a mark on you that prevents you from going back. You can, but you must go through that path without fear. This is called repentance. So it's very important to understand that when a person lives by conscience, they are not humiliated. They are calm, self-sufficient inside. When you look at this person, they evoke feelings of trust, reliability, honesty, and purity. They inspire the feeling that it's worth building deep relationships with this person. This means that in their life, they rely on God. This is the correct sense of self-esteem that leads to success. Because there is another option. A person can rely simply on a bubble they created for themselves. For example, I come and give you a lecture saying, hello, my dear friends, I'm glad to see you all. What does that mean? In other words, I want you to think I'm glad to see you. Are people fools? They see what's happening. If a person wants to be a fool, they will be, because some people come to listen to a lecture not for knowledge but to find out who will make them successful. And then a different system works. First, pay big money for success. 1. And then look at who is a successful person. Look at how they behave. How cool. Well, look, this is success. All the others who want money just pile on the nonsense. It hangs down more and more. Why? Because often people think success is just a bubble that needs to be inflated. And you might say this works, and indeed it works. There's a reason for this. I'll explain that reason to you later. This reason is called piety, the good deeds a person has done in the past. They give a person the opportunity to achieve success, even if they behave incorrectly, may steal, show off, and so on. And they will receive as much piety as they have accumulated in the past, but then they will also receive something a bit different, because the accumulated piety has already run out, and then the harsh reality will begin. And all of this is because God is not pleased with this person's behavior. God always upholds his laws. If a person has done good in their past incarnations, it means that in this life they will reap the rewards. This is despite their unworthy behavior. They will receive rewards for past merits. So look, what is success in pure goodness? What is the correct work of self-esteem? All of this happens when a person believes in God's plan. If you do good deeds, if you live rightly, then you have the right to be a strong person. And this right comes again from God. So to the extent that the Lord gives you the right to be strong and decisive, that's how strong you should be. Because the Lord first tests a person. If a person is firm in their intentions to do good deeds and walk the right path, then the Lord grants them greater strength. If they are even firmer, then even more strength, and so on. A person can have a very strong inner position, but this position is natural for them. For example, some dignified saints walked with their heads held very high, and it may seem that these are proud people. But if you look into their eyes, you will see that they carry God's mission. They do not take pride in themselves, they take pride in serving God. And taking pride in God is good. For instance, if someone asks, "What faith do you have?" and they respond, "I'm Orthodox," is that bad? No, it's good. Because being proud of your own doesn't mean demeaning other faiths. Moreover, there is spiritual dignity and material dignity. What is the difference? If a person possesses spiritual dignity, they are very happy and even proud to serve God in their faith. But at the same time, they will never belittle someone else's faith. This is called spiritual dignity. Material dignity is different. A person can be happy and proud to serve in their faith while simultaneously hating another, or not loving or despising or looking down on them. Describe it however you like, and this signifies material dignity. Because God does not give us such dignity in our hearts, and He never will. Because even if God grants a false faith, He does so for certain purposes. For example, in the Vedas, there are the yamas and niyamas, 10 commandments. They completely coincide with Jesus' commandments, one for one. It's just amazing. Everything is the same everywhere. But most often, if there is holiness in the faith, if there are sacred scriptures, if there is a long path, if there is continuity, and it never stops, then the faith is true. There are sacred scriptures that have stood the test of time. Time destroys what is unnecessary. It is necessary to study how to live correctly. If you walk the path of God, then your dignity becomes very strong, solid, and influential. Additionally, there are commandments. A person does not just believe in something. There are commandments that a person follows in order to live rightly. These commandments are the same across all faiths. This can be verified. For example, in the Vedas, there are the yamas and niyamas, 10 commandments. They completely coincide with Jesus' commandments, one for one. It's just amazing. Everything is the same everywhere. What is the idea? All these criteria indicate the right faith. A person can walk their path, serving God, doing good deeds, living rightly, studying how to live properly according to sacred scriptures. Because a person often cannot understand this on their own, misunderstandings often arise. It is necessary to study how to live correctly. If you walk the path of God, then your dignity becomes very strong, solid, and influential. Moreover, it becomes influential not because you want success, but because God wants you to be successful. If you are walking the right path, then why would He bring you down? God only brings a person down in one case, right at the center. They are not proud, not humbled, if the person is going the wrong way. But if they are on the right path, then please, He has no qualms about this person being happy in their life. He does not envy. Imagine someone saying, "Oh, they're too happy. Let me do something to them. They live too rightly." God does not think that way. If you do everything right, then be happy. Be happy, my friends. May all your days be bright. May your feelings be strong. This means a worthy life, a strong life, beautiful deeds. If you do everything correctly, beautiful deeds become part of your life. The person becomes beautiful, hearts worthy of love. If a person lives a right life, then their heart is worthy of love. And it is good and easy to love them because they do not put on any airs. Their sense of self-worth is right at the center. They are not proud, not humbled, not depressed, nor frantic. It is very pleasant to be around such a person. You might say, why doesn't anyone love me? That means there is some kind of imbalance. It's necessary to address this. If you are on the right inner platform and approach, say, a superior or a boss, how could they not love you? If you are in the right position toward them, that's also something to study. We often rebel, and that is wrong, meaningless. That's why we are punished by fate. This is the next topic. Is it clear about the sense of self-worth? For example, the first path, you lose yourself because there is no contact with your conscience. You don't know where to go and head straight for the abyss, just downwards. The second path, you seem to feel your conscience but constantly try to prove something to it. You're acting out of character. As a result, this sense of self-worth is just like a soap bubble. You don't even really know yourself. You're always doing something out of character. Accepting yourself is scary. Because a person thinks that if I don't act out in some way, then I will be unsuccessful, and everyone will start stepping on me. I want to repeat this once more. Think about it. How is a person perceived who has accepted the fact that they are, for example, wrong? What do you think? They acknowledge before God that they are wrong. How do others perceive such a person who sincerely accepted their wrongness? What do you think? They are perceived kindly, with goodwill. Good person, God says to the hearts of others. Well done, excellent. Now here's another option. If you acknowledge that you were wrong at some point before God, sincerely acknowledge that you were wrong, and then another person says to you, well, if you're wrong, then get out. That means this person is not from God. So why listen to them? They are not from God. There's no reason to listen to them. If a person is from God, they will always be happy for repentance. Happy for repentance. They also have a conscience. God is happy for repentance. He is also glad for repentance. But if a person says, well, if you're wrong, then get out, it depends on how wrong the person is and what they repented for. Sometimes a person has killed someone. Then punishment is required. But if a person is from God, they will say, you'll have to go to prison for what you've done. They will say it sincerely and with regret. I'm sorry, but there's nothing else to be done. Remember this character Detochkin from the film Beware of the Car. That moment was depicted very clearly. He was a person of God, and he had to go to prison. But it was done kindly. There's a law, and you can't do anything about it. Don't be afraid of people. You don't need to think that people won't understand you. Believe that if you're doing the right thing, and doing the right thing means not humiliating yourself. Some people come to me and say, Dr. Torsunov, I'm such a sinner, such a sinner. Say it once, that's enough. You don't need to say it twice. The second time, it's better to say what you want to do to stop being a sinner. Once a disciple approached a holy person and said, Master, I'm the most fallen. I'm the most fallen. This holy person looked at him and said, no, you're just fallen, that's all. You don't need to think so much about yourself. Go do something good. Just fallen, that's all. You're just fallen. Go do something good. Why are you thinking so much about yourself? Some ask, Dr. Torsunov, I've made so many mistakes. And that's the whole question. What does this mean? The same thing, only with a minus sign. It means pride. A person thinks about themselves. Just distract yourself from yourself. You made mistakes, that's all. There was such an amazing case when one person approached me. He came up and said, Dr. Torsunov, look at me. What's wrong with me? I look at him. I say, it seems to me that you killed someone in your past life. He looks at me and says, Dr. Torsunov, I've already killed many people in this life. I look into his eyes. A chill went through my body as if I encountered death. He says, I was a killer. And he says, and no one could put me in jail. God punished me so that I can't even go to prison. I've been praying and repenting for many years now. And imagine, there was strength in his eyes. Not cruelty, not humiliation, not a desire to keep killing, but the strength to live an honest life. The strength of a strong person who suffered from his deeds and now repents deeply. And God gave him the opportunity not to go to prison, can you imagine? Because God knew that he would go this way. And the person repents all his life, prays for the hearts of those people whom he humiliated, whose lives he destroyed. It's hard for us to understand this, it's difficult. I gave you an extreme example. The reason I brought this up is for you to understand that even in this situation, a person has the right to live. If they've taken the right path, they can fix everything in their life. There was a great saint. This is described in ancient sacred scriptures, and he was called Valmiki Muni. Muni means sage. All his life he robbed caravans of rich people and brought it all to his relatives. They lived well, not poorly. Then a holy person came to him and said, "Why are you doing all this?" He says, "What do you mean why?" "For my relatives, so that they can be happy." And the holy person says, "Have you asked your relatives whether they will go to hell with you for what you're doing? You'll rot in hell endlessly. You've killed so many people." And he says, "Of course they will. We're together, they love me." But the holy person says, "Well, you ask them, and then come back to me." He went home, asked all his relatives. They said, "No, you'll go to hell by yourself. You go alone. We're your relatives. We live at your expense." Children, elderly parents, his wife, they all lived at his expense. "But how you earn your money is your business. We're not involved in this. Go to hell by yourself. And we just use what you give us." Great idea. He returns, eyes wide, and says to the holy man, "They don't want to go to hell with me." And then this holy person says, "Then why continue doing this?" He says, "Well, I can't do anything else. I can only rob and kill." He says, "Then maybe it's better for you to pray and keep repenting." And he understood what it meant. He sat down and started praying. Then his wife sat down next to him, realizing that she also didn't want to live like that. They didn't eat or drink. They prayed all the time. And he did so well, performing such asceticism practice, that he learned to control the life air in the body. This means that he didn't need any food or water. His wife didn't achieve the same and died of hunger, but he remained alive, and termites built an anthill covering his entire body. So he prayed inside the anthill, and then, when he achieved enlightenment, light went through this anthill and people noticed it, began to dig him out, and he came out already a holy person. And he wrote the Ramayana. You know that the Ramayana is a narrative about God. You see, even such a sinner who was destined for hell because there were no crimes he hadn't committed. He purified himself so much that he wrote one of the greatest works of modern times. I'm just telling you that it's never too late to start living normally. Just understand the path. The path is to accept your fate. This is not just about repentance. Unfortunately, most people don't understand at all how this life works, how the world is arranged. For example, no matter how much I talk about this, people always ask me the same question. They say to me, "Dr. Torsunov, what should I do with my husband? He's really getting on my nerves." Your husband has nothing to do with it. You can't even imagine that he's just an instrument in the hands of your fate, that if you start to overcome your fate right before your eyes, this same husband will behave completely differently with you. And it will be a miracle, because it seems to you that it's impossible. But you've never done anything to make him start behaving differently. You haven't made any effort towards this. But you need to start, and you'll see how everything changes. Accepting fate doesn't just mean repenting for your actions. It also means accepting your husband, accepting your wife, accepting the country, accepting the boss you interact with. Because the boss might be a completely corrupt person, but God put this person above you to give you work, pay you money. There are reasons for this. The reason is that one merits this from their previous life, and therefore your boss has the right to command you. God put them above you. Well, if you don't agree with this, find another boss. If the new boss turns out to be the same, then it's your fate. It means you're supposed to have such a boss because once you did the same thing. And now what to do? How to treat this person? You need to respect this man for giving you work. He's a bad person, he steals. So, that's how it's supposed to be. Accept it. Accepting it doesn't mean agreeing with it. You have no choice. Let's say you work in this place where theft takes place. They're stealing from you too. You have two options. To destroy everything there, to deprive everyone of work, to leave all workers without salary. The second option is to work calmly, pray to God to help everyone, the boss and others, so that everything gets better. And as a result, the boss will see the light, repent, and work decently, or God will punish him and put someone else in charge. But all this will be done ecologically. People often start revolutions. What is a revolution? It's the destruction of what exists. Look, in 1905, the revolution occurred. It took 45 years for people to start living normally. 45 years of continuous wars in Russia, continuous wars, just to get life back on track. After the revolution, the entire system was destroyed, the entire governing structure. You need to change people's consciousness for the new government, change and educate new leadership. There's so much that needs to be done for everything to get better. It's a total mess. Now they will do the same thing in Ukraine. They have changed the entire formation of power. People lived a certain way of life. They changed everything. And now everything in people's minds needs to be changed. It will take years for them to be able to live comfortably in this situation. And this is devastation, constant poverty. This is simply destruction. This is a sin. To act like this is a sin. It's best to leave everything as it is and change it through prayer, through your own decent behavior. And in this case, you will develop. Let's say the boss is behaving incorrectly, but you behave correctly with him. You accepted him as your fate. What's next? You have all the possibilities to correct him. For example, if he sees that you treat him kindly. You can go to him and say, I think you're doing everything right, but when you call me a bastard, I somehow lose inspiration to work. Explain to me what I don't understand. Maybe there's something I'm missing. He can explain anything to you, but he will understand in his heart that he shouldn't call you a bastard. This means that the junior gave knowledge to the senior. You shouldn't behave like this with a good person. You'll lose this person. This is what you'd say directly. But if you don't say it directly but correctly, this is how you should speak to a senior. You need to accept him as your fate, and then you go to him. You're a loyal person, kind, honestly fulfilling your duty. There are no complaints about you. And you simply tell him in the form of a question what he needs to know. For example, you ask him, it seems to me that our employees are somehow dissatisfied at work. They say that you seem to be stealing, but I think everything is fine. Please explain to them that everything is fine. And he can say anything he wants, but he will know that everyone knows he's stealing. It's no longer secret information. He thinks he's doing everything secretly. He will then think whether it's worth doing this. The thing is, there's a certain energy. Success is connected with these things. Success in this society means acceptance. If you've accepted the universe, you completely agree. That's already success. Wherever you want success, that's where you'll get it. For example, a woman understood that she was born to give love to everyone, and simply, although people can be different, she still gives love to everyone. She understood this. When she gives more love to everyone, then what happens to her? When a woman gives love to everyone, love returns to the woman. Where does it go? Does it improve digestion, or what does it do? So, the love came back to the woman because she had given it away. What does love do to a woman? It all goes into her beauty. If a woman loves everyone and cares for everyone, then where does it all go? It all goes only into beauty, nowhere else. Not into digestion, not into hair growth on legs. Everything goes into beauty. Do you understand, ladies, what I'm talking about or not? With God, everything is perfect. If you perform your functions correctly, and if everything goes into beauty, then what does your self-esteem tell you? Everyone loves you. Everyone looks at you and adores you. Why? Because you're living correctly. This is female self-esteem. And the woman feels this. And she not only feels it, she also knows her own worth. But for this, she must set herself up correctly. What is a woman's success? How can she get married? There are songs that tell all this. Let's see how a woman behaves. A woman knows that she needs to love the whole world, then this world will love her too. She should love flowers, butterflies. This is a natural female state. To love flowers, butterflies, people, everything around. Not to wait for the train to arrive, not sit in a blinkered state, but without wasting your time, to develop as a person, become successful. To love everyone around, to rejoice at everyone. This is the nature of a woman. This is her success. If she understood this, then she should know that everything has its time. If you live correctly, wait. The time will come, and you will succeed in everything. And you need to know that this is not simple. It doesn't happen in 5 minutes. And so continue to live like this. As the song says, they sway and smile at us like old and good friends, and in the sky the sun is playful and radiant. That's how a woman should be attuned. The second option, let's say, sitting on a train. Mom and dad are already getting on my nerves. They constantly think badly about themselves. This is incorrect thinking for a woman. If she wants to overcome fate, she should distract herself from grief and start doing what this song sings about, to become strong. And mom and dad will benefit too. Even when mom and dad pass away, a woman shouldn't shed tears. She should think about God and remember her mom and dad with joy in her heart, and then they will receive joy. In that world where they find themselves, they need energy of support, not your tears. Energy of support means they are undergoing a kind of reformatting of their psyche and body for a new life, and this all happens through the love of relatives. Love doesn't mean tears. Love means support. You need to remember God, and in this way help your loved ones. Remember means bright memories. Remember all the good things that were between you, and all this will support them. Therefore, a woman should always take love from this world and give it back. Let's say mom and dad are not doing well. Okay, I look at nature, smile at it. This is all for mom. This is how you should help mom and dad. Not just moan, oh, they're doing badly. This means you're just being lazy to help them. Now, what does such a girl think about life? And there's nothing wrong with that. Everything is fine because I'm already living normally. I love everyone. It doesn't matter if it's far or not far. I'll get there anyway. Now, how does the self-esteem of such a woman work? What does she feel? How does she see this world? As the song says, maintaining a proud look and attracting with beauty. Where to get this proud look from? You can't just pretend or show off to achieve this. This comes from God. If a girl lives correctly with dignity, God gives this beauty, this strength. Because a woman has a divine nature within her. A woman should know this. Dr. Torsunov, you see, my face is just not that beautiful. How do you know if you're beautiful or not? God gave you a divine female nature. Become a woman, knocking everyone off their feet. And even if you think you have an unattractive face, and even if everyone else thinks you have an unattractive face, you are a woman. Fill yourself with this power of love, and then, in this case, you will knock everyone off their feet. If you're doing everything correctly, don't worry about your face. You don't even need to put on lipstick, check it out, conduct an experiment. They still have no chance. Is the idea clear? Don't blame God for your face. Live decently, correctly, and you'll see how everything works out in this world. My daughter used to complain about her nose. She considered it unattractive. She wanted to have plastic surgery. Now her husband tells her, it's the best nose in the world. He likes her nose so much. There's a man for every nose. Let's divide life into different areas of influence. For example, the area of work. A person feels that they can't find a good job. Let's break it down into stages. The first stage for a man, you're not awakened. How does this manifest? You can't work. You get tired. You're not interested. You're generally lazy to live. It's hard for you to even force yourself to go for a run or do some exercises. You dream of having a good job and don't know where to find it. This means you're simply not awakened. Go to the gym, start lifting dumbbells, wrestle with someone, swim in freezing water, do something to yourself because you're a man. Until you feel that you simply want to work somewhere, regardless of whether it will give you money or not, just because you're a man and you should work and be useful. Then go and work wherever God sends you and watch yourself. Don't leave this job. Wait for what? Wait until you start to like working there. At some point, a man begins to feel that he just likes doing something good for people. That's it. You're a successful person. Then just observe yourself, work there, and see what you could do better for people, where you're more effective, and it will carry you forward. Since you already love work, and you're not worried about money, you need to check yourself. Do you wait for your salary or not? Do you think about the end of the workday or not? If you simply enjoy working, then you've achieved your goal. From this moment, it becomes an asceticism practice to live like this, but it's the only way, because this is success. You become a very attractive person in terms of activity, because all people feel this energy. You come somewhere and say, I want to get a job. There's love for work in you. It's visible in your eyes. Immediately, there will be a different attitude towards you. You'll see how it works. Then you can work here, there, and gradually you'll realize yourself in the activity. And you'll feel that you're engaged in an activity that brings money, but at the same time, you don't think about money, because if you think about money, you'll lose yourself again. It's like a disease. When a person thinks about getting something, their self-esteem turns away from success. They become narrow-minded. When you approach your boss and look them in the eye, and in your eyes it says, you're not giving me enough, the boss feels sick of you and wants to fire you altogether. You become an unsuccessful person. They will never promote you anywhere. They will never advance you because you've already annoyed them with your look. Now listen further. If you're a self-sufficient person, you want a higher salary, the time will come and you'll get more, as soon as you get your good fate for it. Let's say this boss doesn't want to give more, but if you have greater potential, an interesting thing will happen to you. You'll feel that you shouldn't work here anymore, that great things are waiting for you. You'll feel this in your heart. Go ahead, act, and it will turn out that way. If these people don't want to understand you, your potential, move further. Your fate will provide everything for you. There's nothing to fear. This is how this world is arranged. Let's say a beautiful, fragrant rose grows in the middle of the road. Will it really remain alone in the middle of the road? Someone will definitely take it for themselves. And if it's a stinky thorn growing, it will be trampled, uprooted, stop being a stinky thorn, become a rose, and someone will definitely take you. It's the law of life. There's no failure in this. So a person works, gets a good salary, they like their work, but they feel two things. First, they get tired at work and feel as if they're giving their life just to work and money. Life isn't interesting. I'm telling you about the stages of development of a man, a personality, or even a woman. Life isn't interesting. You have work, you have money, everything's great, but life isn't interesting. This means that you're moving from the stage of your abilities to the stage of human nature. There are 4 purposes. Have I told you about these 4 purposes? Not yet? There are 4 purposes. I'll tell you now. There's the mental nature of a person, and there's a nature that brings a person mission and happiness. But to reach the mission, you need to step over all these stages. Let's take the mental structure of a person. A person has feelings. When a person is at the sensory level, they live for pleasure. Then the activity they engage in is called a hobby. They like it, but nobody else needs it. You paint, the picture is beautiful, great, You try to sell it, nobody needs it because this picture is beautiful only for you, but you don't know it yet. Or let's say a person is a manager. They come to work. This is my case. Really, we had such a case in our company. This man looked great on the outside. We hired him. We explained to him that he needed to write job descriptions for people, check how they work, monitor this process, and hold meetings. He started holding meetings, telling how to work. Everything seemed great. He didn't write job descriptions, didn't monitor people. There was chaos. Everyone sat in the meeting, listened, and then went about their own business. We told him, "Why aren't you doing this?" He said, "I can't do this. Let's have two managers. One will write job descriptions and monitor the process, and the other will hold meetings." This person is at the hobby level. Such people can only do what they like. They can't force themselves to do what they don't like. The hobby level means everyone will try to get rid of you at work. Why? Because nobody needs such people. The next stage is when a person starts to love work. Remember I told you about loving work. First at the hobby stage, they begin to love work. Gradually they get used to it. They can do any work. They already become an acceptable person in society. Then they begin to feel where they can be effective, and their activity at the sensory level moves to the mental platform. A person's abilities are in the mind. What are abilities? Being a doctor, being a musician, being a farmer, being an agronomist, these are all abilities, not human nature. There are different abilities, no one rejects them. If a person has become a doctor, they will have 4 options, and these are good options. The first option is to treat people kindly. The second option is to sell medicines, which is also necessary. Someone has to sell medicines. The third option is to manage a hospital. This is also a physician, but a chief physician. You're a doctor, but you sell medicines, distribute various products for health, and the fourth option is to give people knowledge about a healthy lifestyle. These are 4 types of human nature, what I just told you, but this is the nature of intelligence. It's different. So a person has reached the level of their abilities. As the rhyme goes, it's better to do well what you do as a master. This means skill. That's it. You found your abilities. Why did you find them? Because you love work. If you don't like to work, if you're a lazy bones, you won't discover your abilities. You'll be asking everyone, well, what's my nature? You're far from finding out your nature. You need to start running in the stadium to get yourself going. And if you're a woman, you need to go dancing to stop being a dreamer, to get involved, to give happiness to people. As soon as you get involved, you'll get married right away because no one can withstand the pressure. When a girl is beautiful and single, it's an unbearable situation in society, so she gets married immediately. If she's beautiful, it's also unbearable. If she doesn't have children, it's also an unbearable situation. Then she gives birth to children. The situation becomes bearable. And then she can go on to develop her abilities at work. Why? Because at home, a woman works, and at work she gets pleasure. A man lives at work. That's where he acts. He has a mission there. A woman lives at home. A woman naturally gets tired of home, and she needs to rest from it all, from children, from her husband. They've all worn me out. I want to take a breath of fresh air. And where's that breath of fresh air? At work. Why does a woman go to work? To smile, to show herself, to look at others, to drink some tea there, to chat, to have kind, good relationships, and to do something interesting. Did I say anything about work just now? No. A woman doesn't want to go to work for the sake of work. She wants to enjoy herself. You understand? This is for managers. And you can't do without women at work, so rule number 1, if you're hiring a woman, maybe she needs money, maybe she really doesn't know where to go, you should look whether does she likes doing this or not. If she likes it, she'll help you there for a long time. She's the person you need. If she doesn't like it, honestly, just send her somewhere else or give her the whole world. She won't stay with you for long. Look at her face. If she's working and she likes it, everything's great for her. It means she'll stay for a long time. If she's a bit sour, it means she'll leave soon. A woman goes to work for pleasure, not to earn money, as you might think. She goes there to rest from home. But there's another category of women who have convinced themselves that they'll become happy at work. These women lose themselves. They go through 4 stages. The first stage, they give their whole life to work. The second stage, fatigue. The third stage, I can't do it anymore. The fourth stage, I'm leaving. So they constantly bounce back and forth, not understanding that without a foundation in life, a woman can never be successful. And a woman's foundation is her personal life. Personal life doesn't mean family. If there's no family, it doesn't mean she'll never have a foundation in life. No. Personal life means loving people, caring for everyone. This is what a woman needs to do constantly, and work for her is just a rest. Even if she does this at work, loving everyone, caring for everyone, she will be more in demand at work. No one will fire such a person. There's no one else like her. Who will maintain the collective mood for us? So she maintains the mood there all day long. Women create the environment. Men change the environment. They work, and what does a woman do? She maintains love. How was it arranged in ancient culture? Women didn't work in any jobs at all. They were engaged in society. What does this mean? It means that schools, hospitals, various help to people, kindergartens, everything was based on women's voluntary work. Women were engaged according to their nature, working in hospitals, helping people. How much did they work? As much as they liked. How much did they earn? As much as they were given. The woman wasn't worried because her husband supported the family. She simply helped society. She created an atmosphere of love. When women take care of this world, the entire social environment, what does the social environment become like? Beautiful and kind. You go out on the street, everyone greets you, everyone loves you, everyone knows each other. This is how female energy works. This is still preserved in villages. Women create all this. Imagine, let's say, you're walking through a village and men run out saying, "Oh, hello." Will men run out? They sit on a bench looking. Who's come? But a woman runs out. "Oh, come in, we're glad to see you." If you ask a man, "Are you glad?" He'll say, "Well, yes, I'm glad too," through his wife's eyes. He's a man, why would he shout with joy? A man looks, thinks, that's it. He's glad through his wife's eyes. The wife is happy with everyone. She loves everyone. She lives, the man observes. That's how the world is arranged. Now everyone is blinkered. Women work, men work. Women don't create the environment. They don't create an atmosphere of love. It's boring for them to live like this, because a woman should be doing this. Create as much as you can. Invite friends to your home. Participate in various clubs. Good People Club. Food for Life. There's a Good People Club here. You see, there are active people. They go to different places, helping different people. These people live a joyful, happy life. Mostly women come to clubs. They need it more. If a man comes alone to the Good People Club, he'll be like a king there. There should be at least one rooster in a hen house. But he feels very good there, crowing like a rooster. Cock-a-doodle-doo. This was a hidden advertisement for the Good People Club. By the way, I'll soon have, in just a few days on Saturday, Sunday, from 11 to 14 Moscow time, an online seminar. I'll be lecturing right from home about cleansing the body, about various fasts, about diets, about how to eat properly. A very in-depth 2-day seminar on Saturday, Sunday. It's paid but not expensive. It only costs $5. You can register yourself and watch from home, but then you won't be able to ask a question, or with the Good People Club. You can arrange with them in the lobby and come. They organize it at their venue. You can come and listen. Then I'll be able to see all of you. And not like in a hall. I can't see faces at the back, but I'll see everyone right in front of me. I remember everyone who comes to the online lectures. I already know all the people by face. I have a big screen and I can see everyone. So activities on the level of the mind. A person gets tired of it. They earn okay, their abilities are satisfied. They are doctors, mechanics, or someone else. That means that they work according to their abilities. Why? Because they have realized themselves as a result of their love of labor. There's no other way to discover your abilities. If you want to love sweeping the floor, start sweeping the floor, and you'll understand which method is yours. This means finding your abilities. If you don't want to work, how will you determine what job to do? It's impossible. Start loving the labor, then you'll define it, the next stage. Before I tell you about human nature, I'm going to give you a bit of theory now. The soul has 3 energies. This is called the energy of consciousness. Consciousness permeates our entire body and psyche, and it shines through a person. There is the light of knowledge. It's like holiness. They say a holy person is the light of knowledge. Knowledge brings a person luck. When people look at a person possessing knowledge, their lives change. They feel how to live correctly. This is called a person enlightened with knowledge. The energy of knowledge emanates from them, from here, from this center. This center of intelligence is located in the head, right here. The second center is called the center of love. There are people who love people. This is also a kind of luck, and it's definitely very attractive. Happiness emanates from the person, not knowledge, but precisely the feeling that the person is very pleasant and nice. It's good to be around this person. And the third center of intelligence, the second center, is located in the heart area, connected with the energy of the soul. It's called love. The first energy is the energy of knowledge, the second is love, and the third energy of the soul is located in the groin area. That's where the center of intelligence is. It's responsible for stability. It's responsible for making a person feel comfortable in life, doing what they like, and so on. Life stability. So look, each center can be fully or partially activated or not activated at all in a person. And this all doesn't change over many lives. This is called human nature. In other words, if the upper center of intelligence is activated and works at full capacity, the second one works halfway, the third one doesn't participate in the process of human activity at all, it doesn't work. In this case, a person is born with the idea, I want people to be happy and I will give them knowledge for this, so I must gain knowledge myself. It means a person believes that happiness is only associated with knowledge. And this is the main goal of their life, to give knowledge, take knowledge, and develop knowledge. 3 directions of activity: to develop knowledge, give knowledge, and take knowledge. That's the way a person is from birth. They want to do this for people. This means love. Knowledge will save the world, and it must be done with love for people. This is the concept, the mental structure of the intelligence of a person of the first category, which can be called scientist. What kind of people are these? These can be doctors, writers, scientists, priests, coaches, lawyers, teachers, engineers, or anyone who deals with knowledge. Let's say a person draws blueprints, makes microchips, creates something. They are programmers, this category of people who create knowledge and give it to people, and they acquire knowledge. What does this person look like from birth? A small child is born. The entire mental structure of a small child is their energy of intelligence. When you see a child who doesn't understand anything yet, they are very small. They were just born, just opened their eyes. You won't see anything in them except intelligence. They don't have feelings or emotions yet, they only have intelligence. And what do you see in this child? They are like this from birth. They will look at you with a detached, calm gaze. You smile at them and they will study why you are smiling. They will try to understand why you are smiling. They don't react emotionally to your emotions. They study everything, and it's like they are looking at everything from the outside. So they say, oh, I have a sage born. The look is very conscious, intelligent, and it seems that this child knows everything about me. But they don't know anything about you. They don't know anything about anyone at all. They look at you through the eyes of their fate. This person will be like this when they become mature. And now they just show you with their gaze who they will be later. This is the first category. What natural character qualities does God give to such people? He gives the ability to respect knowledge, to feel knowledge, and gives humility. It means such people are ready to bow their heads for the sake of knowledge. Such a person is inclined to asceticism practice. A person is ready to perform asceticism practices and overcome difficulties for the sake of knowledge. God gives such a person a desire for the truth. Such a person does not want lies. They want the truth for everything to be right in life. The next quality of this person is nonviolence. They don't want to solve issues with force and cruelty. They solve issues through explanation. It's not in their nature to have the desire to punish someone. They want to change everything with knowledge, not with force. They are a bit detached from life because they are only interested in knowledge. For example, playing football. All the children are playing football, but this person in the first category is watching how everyone is playing and says that's wrong. This person should be placed here. It means they start to behave like a coach. So they are not football players, but coaches. They say, let's play it right. To win, we need to do it like this. This is the goalkeeper. He has such qualities. You're the goalkeeper. They don't order. They explain to everyone. They just advise. If everyone follows the advice, everyone wins. Because a coach appeared, it is someone who studies how the game goes and draws conclusions. What are the natural character flaws of people in this first category? They have a strong desire for success, fame, and honor, and a strong desire to be proud of their knowledge. It turns out that knowledge itself is a test for a person. It means they learn a little and immediately start showing off. I'm kind of the cool one. That's it. And they ruin their own life this way. Because their sense of self-worth went up, this means that they didn't cope with their fate. Such a person immediately becomes like a pot filled with water. I mean, you can't pour anything in, you can't pour anything out, and it's all blocked up on top. That is pride. The word pot is a Chinese way of comparing people. It's cool. I like it. Such people are proud. They are filled with water. They do have knowledge, but they have sealed it. They can't give it to others because you can't give knowledge without love. No knowledge will enter this person either, because they think they know everything. Then this person becomes useless. Who needs this sealed pot? You can't pour anything into it, and in general it's useless, and naturally such a person loses success in life. So therefore, a person of the first category should always have a mentor. If there's no mentor, there's a danger of losing oneself. A mentor always reminds you, you don't know anything by yourself. God gives you knowledge. He leads you. You depend on him. You pass on his mission, not your own, and so on. A mentor reminds the person because a person's pride comes simply from people's gratitude. When people are grateful to you, pride enters you. You don't even notice. If you don't consider that it's not your merit, but the merit of your elders, then fate will defeat you. A proud person of the first category becomes a loser. The second category is people whose second center is very active. They wish good for all people. People whose second center is half activated wish to make everything good with the help of order, with the help of knowledge of how to live correctly. But knowledge will not save people as they think. You need to do something to make everything good. So the second center means that you are not detached, but act on purpose. And therefore, in order for everything to be good, a person should have a very strong sense of truth of how to do things right. Such a person of the second category feels the truth of how to do right, wants to do it, and doesn't let anyone do it wrong. What does a child of the second category look like? A person is born, but a year or two ago, approximately such a term, one was in a state of non-existence, as we say. A person lives, yes, and there is a state of dream. In the dream, do you realize yourself? Not? Like one Georgian is selling fish and says, live fish, live fish. Someone approaches him and says, but it's not moving and stinks. He says, it's alive but sleeping. Do you control yourself in your sleep? It stinks a little. When people sleep, they are not in a state of being at that time. Similarly, when a person passes away, it is compared to sleep. It's the same thing. But when people sleep, they dream. That means they realize themselves. Similarly, when people pass away, they see the fate of their life, past and future. But they can't do anything about it and then forget everything when they are born again. People can see up to 100 of their past lives when they are in the state between previous life and new life. So 2 years ago, this person was a factory director. And it's very hard to forget this when you passed away. You've lived it and you're still living it. The person doesn't feel that something has been interrupted. And when this little child is born, nothing has been interrupted for them. And they look at everything like this. What's the matter? Who are you? I'll show you if something's not right. That means their look is very firm, with a sense of self-dignity and a bit angry. But it is a little baby, just born. Raise your hand who had a baby born like a boss. So calm down, relax, the lecture continues. You can ask all your questions after the lecture. They have such a firm look, full of dignity. See, who was born? Try to humiliate me. Then all this will pass. They won't behave like this anymore. But it's very noticeable from birth. Of course, it will all show up. Well, maybe not as much as the very first look. The first look of a person in the first minutes. It's precisely the intelligence that shines through the child's soul. Also in the first seconds of life, purity, past deeds, and a person's wisdom shine through the most. You can learn the most important things about babies when you look at them for the first time. The most important qualities in the child are highlighted. What are the qualities of the second category? People of the second category are called leaders. Let's call them that. Rulers, leaders. Even a policeman is a leader. This is also this category if one becomes a policeman by their nature. This is not a fisherman with a spinning rod catching fish big and small, but they should maintain order at work. They should not make money off drivers. That's no longer called a policeman, but a robber. If they use their profession to rob people, they will be responsible for it. Such people all degrade in life. Their family is destroyed. They suffer a lot. But if a person honestly does their job, honestly fulfills their duties, and does everything that needs to be done, it means God will love them. These are people of the category who maintain order. In the army too. Any leader in any position refers to this category. So the qualities of a person in the second category are strong will, bravery, a pronounced sense of self-worth, expressed sense of truth, strong ability to see people's behavior and categorize them by qualities. A person like that senses what task to assign to different people. They know who is who by seeing people. They feel them. They feel everything and control the situation. They have a strong desire for power and desire to achieve power at any cost, including by force. Such people achieve this from childhood because without power they will not be able to manifest their category. Let's say 5 children are playing in a sandbox, or for example 10 children. While everyone is making fortresses, one says, this is our fortress. The other says, okay, we'll have our own too. And they are making fortresses. One commands and everyone makes fortresses. This is how it should be done. We're going to attack now. The second one commands too, and they then attack each other. Because when 2 leaders meet, a conflict begins about who is better. This is such a nature. And if it's a large company, what is the function of a top manager? They have the power of love for seniors, respect everyone, and can reconcile irreconcilable things. That means they establish relationships between leaders and then everything flourishes. Leaders always conflict with each other because all leaders have a very strong sense of rightness, and it seems to them that everything should work out only this way, not the other. They have a natural desire to take care of people. They like to do it. They like to protect them. And such people like things to be right. They badly want society to live correctly, so they have a natural inclination to study laws. They know the laws, feel how everything happens. They like politics. They also love high society. They like to go where power is. People of the first category dress cleanly, simply, but with dignity. People of the second category always dress to show their status. If you see people in status clothing, but they themselves are not of high status, they still belong to the second category. That means it's their nature. All people who dress emphasizing their status look very impressive. It means that they are of the second category. These are those who are associated with power or want to be associated with power, and such people feel each other. They have the ability to communicate very deeply and cooperate in order to lead people, but at the same time they always naturally struggle for power. What are some of these people's natural flaws? Natural flaws are irascibility, cruelty, and the desire for power, which is both an advantage and a disadvantage of this category. What things completely destroy the life of this category? If a person of the second category puts the rules of life lower and money higher, then they destroy their lives. Let's say a person should manage a factory, but instead of serving people developing the factory, they started to hoard. It's similar to stuffing one's cheeks like a hamster. So they destroy themselves and the factory, and everything goes downhill, and then prison awaits them. The punishment for such people is very severe. Fate can punish harshly. It waits, tolerates for some time, warns, and if a person doesn't hear, doesn't see, then the tough times begin. Furthermore, a person of the second category has no right to set a bad example because their seniority must be confirmed by their correct way of life, be steadfast and not have vicious connections. If a person starts to cheat, it means they are disqualified, losing themselves as a leader. Deception, fraud, and excessive desire for accumulation are destructive. You might ask, does it mean that leaders and managers shouldn't have money? The thing is that God Himself gives leaders as much money as they need to maintain their status. It's not forbidden for them to be wealthy. But if this person puts money and their wealth above the welfare of people, such a person will undoubtedly be destroyed by God as a leader and punished very seriously. It's only a matter of time. And since we are not gods, but we see that a person does so, let God punish them. Of course, we shouldn't turn a blind eye to this. If it's criminal, if you feel it's your duty, well, report them. It's not a big deal. But there's no need to complain. Bad country, bad city. When people behave like this, they destroy everything around them. We should love our city, our country, our leadership, and then we help them become better, because to love means to bless. There's a cartoon. A big bird sat on a cable, and it sagged a lot. Then small birds sat around and started bullying the big one. Boo, boo, boo. And then they started pecking at it. They are pecking, and pecking. This kind big bird endured and endured. Then they pecked at it so much that it turned upside down with its feet up. And they keep pecking at it, pecking. Then it let go of its feet, and the cable shot up, and all these little birds fell to the ground without feathers, and all scraped, they ran away. And since it was big, it didn't even fall because its head was touching the ground. It just tilted down a little, and that's all. But the small ones shot up. Bam! So why are they pecking? After all, they're sawing off the branch they're sitting on. People who criticize their leadership destroy themselves. You know, according to the Vedas, there are different ways to achieve victory. Do you know which method is one of the strongest and bloodless? If you want to defeat another state, as Dhanaveda, the military art says, if you want to defeat another state, just destroy the connection between the leader and the people. Make it so that people start criticizing their government and nothing else needs to be done with this country. It will fall apart on its own, and it will be incapable of fighting and will become incapacitated. Everything will be at zero level in this country. Production, life. It means everything will be destroyed. Because when people are dissatisfied with their authorities, they grumble, whine, they don't obey anything, all connections are destroyed. That's what happened to us in 1991. The system was triggered. Now we're reaping the benefits. All divided parties will then feud with each other. When a husband and wife separate, they become enemies, because before that they were friends. The connection remains, only with a minus sign. So the third category of people whose second center works strongly, the first one sleeps, the third is half activated. It means one should take care of people. Such a person also has this desire, but by what means? Through stability and prosperity. It means the lower center is working. And this person was born with the purpose of enriching this society. And their highest goal is to enrich society, to create prosperity everywhere so that everything around flourishes. If the second category wants to establish order, the first category wants to give knowledge on how to live, then the third category wants to fill society with wealth. What does this baby look like? Remember, to enrich everyone, you need to love everyone. In the first category, the baby looks like a sage. The second category, they command everyone. And the third category are born to give happiness to everyone. So the baby is born and smiles. They love everyone and react to everyone. And everyone says, "Oh, how nice." They immediately start to make friends with them. They also make friends with everyone. They reach out their hand, touch you, and greet you. They are so sociable. Who has such a child born? It means there will be money. This is the third category. What will happen next with this child? When they grow up a bit, they will start making friends with everyone. And let's say, if they buy stamps, then somehow all the best stamps end up in their hands. No one knows how this happens. God gives this category such an opportunity, which they use in friendship. And this category naturally loves people, loves to make friends, but always uses this friendship to promote some of their ideas, their business. So this person somehow inexplicably extracts profit through relationships with people, through friendship, through interaction. And if God gave the first category the ability to tell people the truth and to strain people with the truth, then this is not a sin for them. For the second category, it is not a sin to punish people. Then for the third category, it is not a sin to get profit. It turns out not to be a sin for this person if they get profit. What is a sin for them? If they start hoarding all this money for themselves, that's what is a sin. Because what does a person of this category do? Everything depends on this category. They should build schools, feed the homeless. They should help society live well. There are socially weak population groups, elderly people, single mothers, sick people, mentally ill people, homeless children, and so on. All these people, all of this depends on these wealthy people. Those who have profits should not hoard it all for themselves. They are being asked, "You have so much profit. What else do you want to do in life?" They answer, "Make more profit." It means you'll end up in hell, because you're so dumb that despite God giving you enough piety to enrich this society, you keep hoarding and taking everything for yourself. For what? You can't take it all with you anyway. The body dies. We are born naked here. We pass away naked. Where will you put all this later? Why do you need so much? One of my acquaintances listens to my lectures. He's a leader in society, from the government. I won't say which country. His friend comes to him and says, "Listen, there's such a scheme. You can earn a lot, really a lot." And he said to him, "I agree, the scheme is good. Tell me, why do you need so much money? Write down what it's for, then I'll agree." And that person didn't come back. Too much money? Well, why does a person need so much money? He thought and couldn't figure out why he needed all this. Funny people. Well, what for? We need to make a submarine with a nuclear engine. Why, you ask? Because if, for example, there are problems in this country, you can get on the submarine and sail to another country. If someone wants to grab you by a certain spot, don't worry, they'll find you in the submarine too. It won't save you. People are just going crazy, losing their minds, and naturally they will be held accountable for it. Now the question arises, why does God give so much money to a person? Well, it's because of all the good deeds they've done. You see, there are two categories of people. Some do good deeds for their own happiness and receive punishment in the next life, while others do good deeds for selfless reasons. Selfless deeds mean that a person can donate to others, build gardens, schools, and they do this with the desire in their heart to be happy. Well, in the next life you will receive this piety. Be happy. Here's your wealth, power, opportunities. What next? Then with all this, a person misuses everything because they lack the knowledge of how to use it correctly. They think it's right to hoard for themselves, and the result is an unhappy life, unhappy in every way. I can tell you this for sure because I've interacted with many different categories of these people. Once a person invited me for a consultation in Moscow. He was building towers. I won't say who, you can guess. He was constructing high-rise buildings in Moscow, all showy. He invited me to talk, and I went to see him. It turned out to be his apartment. I saw his son wandering around all flashy, and his wife was the same. I can see the fate of these people. I notice there are no relationships. People are just pretending to be something they're not. But in reality, there's no happiness, no love, no relationships, only greed, money, and hypocrisy. He sat there looking at me. "What can you do?" I said, "I don't know what you need." "What do I need?" "Well, tell me what you can do, and then I'll tell you what I need." It turned out he needed nothing. He just invited me because someone said I could tell him a lot. So we talked. I hinted at happiness and suffering, but it went right over his head like a breeze on a windy night. So the consultation ended, and as I was leaving, the secretary asked, "How much is your consultation?" And here's the most interesting part. I said, "All my consultations are always free." She was like, "Oh." It made her uncomfortable that they had invited a fool. I observed the whole situation. Well, later this person ended up in prison, which was a natural outcome of events. First he fled to another country, but then they caught him there too. In short, a merry life. My friends, God created all these categories of people to share happiness with each other, not to hoard it. Otherwise, punishment will undoubtedly follow. And how it turns out, life is indeed an interesting thing. The natural flaws of the second category of people are greed and deception. They will be held accountable for this. Their natural advantage is exactly the opposite. They are actually generous people by nature. They love to feed others, to care. They possess this quality, but they also have that greed, which will prevail. It's hard to tell. What prevails makes a person happy. How does a person from the first category achieve happiness? And how about the second and third categories? What is manifested in a person makes them successful. The first category, compassion for others, the desire to help others, reveals all the abilities of a person from the first category, giving them knowledge, authority, and success. The second category, the desire to care for people and to establish order, being strong and brave in their goals, unafraid, brings success. The third category, generosity and charity, honesty in relationships. How does this manifest through these people? What does success mean? When people look at a successful person from the first category, they feel strong trust and a desire to listen to this person and change their lives. Successful people from the second category evoke a desire to submit and to have this person in power, to lead them like a father or mother. This person from the second category, living a righteous life, inspires a desire for them to be your leader. You don't want anyone else. You want someone like them. You don't want to leave this place. Interestingly, every team goes through tough times. It happens everywhere. When a leader loves and cares for their people, how is this expressed? For example, if someone falls ill, they come to their home. The factory director visits the person and says, "I know a good doctor. I'll call him now. We'll cover everything. Don't tell anyone so they don't bother me about it later. I just want to help you." That's it. What does this mean? This person will remember it for life. And it's also very important to know that when a collective is in a slump, there's no money, people don't leave. They are asked, "Why don't you leave?" They say, "I like working here. There's a good team here, a good boss. I'm comfortable here." A person doesn't leave because it's a good place. They enjoy it. There are good feelings, good relationships, beloved work, because everything is done with love. The leader fills the place with love so the company doesn't collapse. The main value for people isn't money, but relationships. That's how a proper leader makes their life successful. Now, how does a proper merchant or businessman from the third category make their life successful? Look, if their goal isn't just to grab money, but there's a mission involved, that's a person's calling. Remember, a person reaches their calling only if they transcend their desire for wealth. They understand that it's essential to do what they love for the sake of others' happiness. Doing what you love plus making people happy means reaching your calling. And what hinders you from achieving that? Earnings. God tests people this way. A person reaching their calling usually earns less than where they have skills, but when they start acting according to their nature, gradually their earnings increase significantly, along with their development and status. A person gets everything, but first there's a kind of trial. You have a beloved job, a beloved cause, which brings great benefit to others, but you earn less, and it seems there's no way to make money. But then it all pays off. However, it's essential to know this. If you're not developed, if your mind is weak, you may want to reach your calling, but earn nothing at all. Go back to your skill level. Work there because you're still not worthy to act according to your nature, even if you know what to do. Build your strength. Become strong. People will come to you. So I'm talking about a businessman. What does this successful businessman look like? He loves people. He wants to help everyone. He radiates such a strength that everyone wants to make deals with him. Everyone wants to negotiate with him because he is a reliable person. If he says something, he will surely do it. He doesn't cheat or betray anyone. He negotiates honestly, saying what he will gain from it, considering both his and the other person's interests. His ultimate goal isn't money. He wants to help people. And ultimately, this makes him very successful for many reasons. Because when a person wants to help others, their status in society rises significantly. Local authorities want this person to develop because he does good deeds. For example, suppose someone starts helping an orphanage, then suddenly he stops helping. Local authority calls him in and asks, "Why did you stop helping the orphanage?" He replies, "Because I'm short on money." They ask, "What kind of business do you have?" He answers, "I have my own business and I'm currently going through tax inspections." What inspections could there be? We'll sort everything out. They call the tax office. "Leave this person alone. He helps an orphanage. You're not letting him work." Good. He started helping again. Then another orphanage needs help. He says, "I can help this orphanage, but I don't have enough money for the second one, even though I'd like to." Well, the government has two options. The first option will give you money, just keep helping. The second option will help you develop your business so you can afford to help the orphanage. As a result, this person is well known as a good person, and that is the best quality for a businessman, his reputation. Everyone is ready to make deals with him, authorities protect him from inspections, and people in masks won't threaten or corner him. This person lives a peaceful life because he loves the government. He wants to do good deeds, and everyone knows this, but he doesn't show off or boast because that would be a mistake. People in the third category might do things like organize a beer festival where they give out free beer to promote some company, but that's just a show. People don't feel that this is something valuable. They understand that it's just a promotional event. However, if a person quietly and honestly helps people within their means, sooner or later everyone will find out, including those in higher positions, and they will respect this person. They will realize he is great. Food for Life is a worldwide organization. The person who created this organization is from Moscow. I know him. He sold his car and used this money to start feeding people. He didn't show off. He simply fed people. Now the Russian government knows him and helps him because they know where the money will go. If they give him money, it will definitely go to feed the poor. All of this is rock solid, and that's why they promote him. They even gave him a transport trailer field kitchen so that he could organize feeding people, and he uses the field kitchen to distribute food. It's his nature to take care of people. These are people of the third category. What hinders this? If a person starts putting money first, a different energy radiates from them. You want to negotiate with them, but you're afraid because they emanate greed. As the song goes, you don't need a knife for a fool, just show them a copper coin, and that will win them over. What a blue sky. We're not advocates of robbery, thieves. The fourth category, the lower light is fully on, the middle one is half lit. A person wants stability in life, to engage in their favorite work, wanting to do it for others without being disturbed. The fourth category consists of people in creative professions. They have qualities like love for work, respect for elders, and a desire to live a healthy life. These are the qualities of a successful person in the fourth category. Regarding professions, let's say a doctor, I've mentioned that all four categories can be doctors. The same goes for any profession. A musician plays to bring joy to others. This is the fourth category. A musician from the first category imparts knowledge through their songs. For example, they sing about partisans, sharing their story. People become interested and start studying it. Then they sing songs to become the president or to produce films and shows. This is a musician from the second category. In the third category, people earn money. There are many musicians like this today. A musician from the fourth category sings to bring happiness to people with their songs. All categories work in every field and always. That's normal. That's how this world is structured. If you work, you have a good salary. But if you say your salary is not good, there's only one reason. You don't love work and don't feel your calling. Learn to love your work. One person says, Dr. Torsunov, I can't work. I don't know where to work. I can't stick anywhere. I say, you just need to work in one place until you love your job. He replies, I can't. I'll die there. I say, no, you won't die. On the contrary, you'll start enjoying working there. You need to work there for about 3 years. He is surprised. 3 years? I respond, yes, about 3 years. And when you feel good working there, you'll get used to it. You'll start enjoying working more for the benefit of others than for money. At that point, you will discover where you can be effective. Moreover, you won't just know where you'll be effective, but you'll also be able to get a job there because you'll emanate strength, and they'll gladly take you for this job. What kind of strength will emanate from you? The strength of luck will emanate from you because you're living correctly. You might say, all right, Dr. Torsunov, I'm doing fine now. I have enough money, work is going well, there's happiness in my life. Raise your hand if everything is fine. You've reached the second stage of development. What should you do now? Forget about work. Don't quit. Just don't think about it. Start working on yourself. To move to the third stage of your nature, you need to have a strong mind. And when you develop a strong mind as a person, several points will immediately appear in your life. The first point, you will really want to live a fulfilling life for people, to do something good. And this desire will be greater than the desire to live in prosperity. The second point, you will gain knowledge about what you need to do, what your nature is, what your mission in life is, and what God wants from you. The third point, you will have the strength to do this, and strength means attractiveness. Suppose someone says, Dr. Torsunov, I want to be a yoga instructor, but no one comes to my classes. What should I do to get people to come? You just need to develop as a person. You need prayer, spiritual practice, running, and hardening. Because there are 3 pillars of human development. The first pillar is health, the second pillar is social strength, and the third pillar is love for God. Remember this. Let's say you are developing love for God, praying, yet still no one comes to your yoga class. Why? Because you're weak. You haven't connected with nature. Now I'll show you an exercise. Who needs your exercise if you're about to collapse? Go out and run, start receiving energy from nature, become strong and healthy, and people will enjoy being around you. All right, you're no longer weak, you're strong and fit, you're praying to God, but still no one comes. Why? Because you're disconnected. People come to you and you don't even notice them. Come on in. They may as well not even be there. Because you lack social strength, you can't love people. When a person arrives, you should be so joyful that you could faint. It should be natural. Oh, how nice. We haven't seen each other in a long time. And they respond, what do you mean? This is the first time I'm seeing you. And you reply, you must be mistaken. We've known each other since our previous life. That's it. You will be a successful person. The nature of a person means having the strength and desire to ignite and then never extinguish. Now I want to tell you something else, but there's no time left. All right, I'll summarize it briefly. A person has 3 vectors of life. Remember this. One person approaches me and says, Dr. Torsunov, everything is great for me. I have a good team. I'm the boss. All people love and respect me. I have everything. Friends, connections. But there's no work, no orders. Look, he has relationships with peers and with subordinates, but he has no relationships with superiors. This means the person doesn't respect his father, doesn't respect his mother, doesn't respect the government. The upward vector is disrupted. The person becomes unnecessary to anyone. Why is the elusive Indian Joe so elusive? Because nobody needs him. If he was needed, he would be catchable. He asks, how does this work in reality? I say, you first need to start respecting your elders. When you develop respect, you will easily enter any office, open the door and say, I want to serve the city. I don't know what to do. Help me. You will gain contacts, and then social purchase orders for your activities will appear. This will be the result of showing respect to your elders. That's how it works. Another case, a person says, Dr. Torsunov, I have social orders, everything is great. I have subordinates, but for some reason I can't find competent employees. I work well with my subordinates. Everyone loves me. There's an order, but no one is available to work. What should I do? This means you have no friends. Your horizontal connections are poor. You're alone in society like a ship at sea. You need to start making friends with people, not commanding them. There are people who can command, who can obey, but who cannot befriend others, who cannot build relationships as equals. Because if you have such relationships with society, you can reach out and they will immediately find the right employee for you, saying, here's a good specialist. He was recently laid off. Try working with him. In another case, a person says, I have a social order. I have workers. There are people willing to work. But for some reason, people are quitting. There's constant turnover. This means you can't build relationships with subordinates. How to build relationships with elders? By showing respect. How to show respect? I've told you. How to build relationships with equals? Relationships with equals mean generosity of soul and an open heart. When you see someone like yourself, do something good for them and always be sincere with them. Speak kind words to them. This person will become your friend. How to build relationships with subordinates? An elder is someone who understands that there are people who do not grasp what he understands. For example, your child received a failing grade. How to determine that you are the elder for them? You must understand that they do not realize that receiving a failing grade is bad, and that's normal because they are younger. If they were the same as you, they would understand. Let's say a dog barks as you walk by. Will you scold it? Stop barking. It's not nice to behave this way. What did I tell you? Stop it. Will you scold it or not? It's not intelligent. If you understand that, then you are the elder for it. The dog will respect you as the elder. For example, how does a dog determine that a person is older? It barks, the person looks kindly and walks away. The next time, it will be shy to bark because it feels it is less clever compared to them. The same goes for a child. If they receive a failing grade, you ask them, how are you? You got a failing grade? Well, it's not the end of the world, just a failing grade. And the child will share all their secrets, revealing that the teacher is terrible, that communicating with her is impossible, that they don't like the subject, that they don't want to study this subject because it doesn't interest them. You'll learn that the child is feeling unwell, that they are sick, which is why they received a failing grade, that if their mom and dad are watching TV, it interferes and the child can't study. You will learn many things about their life if you talk to them normally, because 60% of that failing grade is your problem, not theirs. And even if it is their problem, perhaps it's good, because in that school they don't need to study. Many people want their children to receive only top grades and break their children's spirits. Let me explain. A person's psyche is structured so that they can only be an orange flower. Their petals won't become multicolored. This is called the destiny of this person. This means that he's naturally inclined to get A's only in mathematics, not in literature. So we need to give him a chance to develop his mathematical abilities. A person's development always goes towards ascendance. If the mountain of their destiny begins to rise, the others will gradually catch up in time, including literature. Because a person wants to be successful when they are allowed to grow in their direction. But if you demand top grades in everything, you might think, why study mathematics? You need to focus on literature. He's already doing well in mathematics. Later, the child grows up and says, I don't know what to do with my life. Because it is merely your desire for others to think of your son as an excellent student. Do you think Einstein was an excellent student in school? Every person who follows their nature has two options. Their parents support them, or they support themselves. Now I will tell you a story. So, you understand how to be an elder? To be an elder, you need to genuinely realize that people do not understand that certain behaviors are unacceptable, and you will feel calm. You won't yell at them because they need to be developed until they understand everything. This is the position of the elder. The position of an equal is to befriend. The position of a subordinate is to understand that there is the will of God, and God does not place elders above subordinates for nothing. Don't rebel, and then the elders will lift you up. If a person respects their elders, their social status increases. If a person respects their equals, many opportunities in business arise. If they respect their subordinates, a stable team. This is all the success. There are no other criteria for success, only these three. Diagnose yourself. What do you lack? If you lack orders, if your business isn't developing, go up. Invest your strength in respecting your elders. If you lack employees, start befriending everyone, socialize, and seek your environment. What kind of fish are you, and in which pond do you swim? Find your environment where similar fish swim and befriend them. If subordinates don't stay, they flee from you, it means you are a poor elder. You don't understand that people have their rights. Look at what having rights means. A subordinate has the right to make mistakes, but does not have the right to disrespect. Suppose your subordinate does not respect you. They are constantly plotting against you. Give them the world without explaining why and how. This person will destroy you. They, like a snake, bite you. Their nature is destructive. Say goodbye, because subordinates do not have the right to be angry at their elders, to criticize. A subordinate has the right to make mistakes. An elder has the right to be angry, but does not have the right to make mistakes. This is the distribution of power. Let's go back for a minute. This is very important. Diagnose yourself. If you have no strength to work, feel in a bad mood, if everything annoys you and you want to leave your job, thinking it's not for you, it means you lack a connection with nature. You simply have weak health. Second option, if you feel you simply don't have a job, don't have a husband or wife, this means your social strength is weak. You don't have love for people, you don't love people, and that's why you're lonely. The third option, if you work well, everything is great, but you have no money, it means your status is low. You need to start respecting your elders. Start with your father and mother. Respect your father, and you will be respected in society. Respect your mother, and everyone will love you. If you start respecting the government, your status will immediately begin to rise, higher and higher. But doing what I said is very difficult. You will soon understand this. Going out to run is hard, not just because you're physically unfit, but because you think you don't have time. Time for a person depends on their love. If someone loves something, they will find the time. For example, I felt that today I wouldn't be able to deliver my lecture properly because I lacked the energy from nature. Even though I ran 3 days ago, I run every 6 days, I still only managed 40 minutes. Not the hour and 40 minutes I usually do, but less. It was just a warm-up. Then I went to the Volga River. I went in and out 7 times because it was cold. The water was cold. Finally, I took a swim. I went in twice and then just sat there, and that was it. Do you feel that energy from me today? It's your river Volga energy. I'm serious. This energy you feel is from your river. I filled myself with it. Can you imagine how simple it is? You just need to go in that direction and everything will be fine. Okay. Today, as you see, I'm watching the clock because yesterday it was quite inconvenient for you. Today there will be enough flowers for everyone. That's for sure. I don't know how many tangerines there are. Do you know why tangerines? Because they are the only fruit that, when thrown, hits the head and doesn't hurt. Not only that, they don't spill when they hit the head. I tried it. Even if you throw it from far away and it hits the head, it doesn't hurt and doesn't spill. An amazing fruit. Not oranges, but tangerines. Because if you hit someone with an orange, it doesn't spill, but the head does. Yesterday, when we repeated, "I wish everyone happiness," did you feel that calmness? Who felt that calmness in their heart? Remember, this calmness comes from listening to those who pray. Listening is not just listening, it's listening while repeating. When a person just listens, their mind doesn't engage. When a person simply repeats something, their mind doesn't engage. The mind engages when you simultaneously listen to those who pray and repeat what they say, embedding it in your memory. At that moment, your memory of yourself will compete with the memory of those who pray. When you strongly hear those who pray, your memory of yourself or your fate will begin to fade. You will feel calm. This calmness signifies the beginning of victory over fate. Practice it. An amazing child here, the whole lecture without any fuss, 2 children even. They are gaining knowledge. Sometimes young children, aged 7 or 8, come to my lectures and listen. There's one such child here too. They like the lectures. They enjoy learning. Can you imagine that from childhood? Imagine such a wonderful upbringing. When I was a kid, I only played football. My mom would ask me, "Do you want to eat?" "No." "Do you want to go out?" "Yes." And off I'd run. Children listening to lectures from childhood, it's amazing. Thank you very much. I wish you all happiness, love, knowledge, luck, health, strong families, and everything bright in your life. I am very grateful to you for this sacrifice, that you are here with me during these holidays and not at home or at the summer house. I am truly very grateful to you. Thank you so much. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much and see you soon.